House Republicans celebrating their tax overhaul, and tonight President Trump is tweeting. Congratulations to the House of Representatives for passing the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, a big step toward fulfilling our promise to deliver historic tax cuts for the American people by the end of the year. But the president may have some trouble in the Senate from his own party. They've gotten in the way of some key legislation in the past he's tried to get passed. Counselor to the President, Kellyanne Conway, joins us now. Good to see you tonight, Kellyanne.
Thank you, Shannon. Congratulations on your show.
Thank you very much. All right, so let's start, not surprisingly, that the Democrats would be opposed to what you're trying to get done with taxes. Here is a little bit of what Ron Wyden had to say about how he thinks this is going to play out.
According to the latest figures from the Joint Committee on Taxation, in 2021, families earning $30,000 and under are going to get clobbered by a tax hike of nearly $6 billion to pay for this handout to multinational corporations.
And he goes on from there, again, citing numbers from the Joint Taxation Committee. What do you make of that?
I think it's very regrettable that we can't find a single Democrat to support what is clearly relief for middle-class families. And the president has said from the beginning his major principles in meaningful tax cuts and tax overhaul are, number one, middle-class tax relief. This does that. Number two, reducing that corporate rate from 35% to 20%, taking us from the highest rate in the OECD to below the average of 23%. Number three, repatriating that wealth. We have $2.8 trillion parked legally overseas. Bring those jobs and that wealth that's legally overseas back home. And number four, just making it simpler, and that benefits everyone, Shannon. You know, the current code already benefits the wealthy and the well-connected. They hire attorneys and accountants to help them navigate the code. Some of them hire lobbyists to help them change the code. Let's put it on a postcard or through an app so that people can simplify and get back the 6 billion man-hours we spend each year and the $260-some billion we waste. So I think, honestly, I think today was the worst day for the Democrats in 2017. You have not one but two United States senators now facing ethics investigations, Menendez and Franken. You have the chief of staff to a Democratic congresswoman who's leading the charge against sexual harassment, needing to resign because of sexual harassment charges. And you can't find a single Democrat in the House of Representatives who sees anything good in the most robust, historic tax relief package for middle-class Americans in a generation.
And I do want to talk about some of the other controversies in the ethical issues. But before we leave taxes, I mean, these numbers that Wyden is citing come from a group that's supposed to be nonpartisan, that's just looking at crunching the numbers. And they say the taxes are going up for people making less than $30,000. And then down the road, it's for families making less than $75,000. If that's accurate, how do you sell this to the American people?
But let's review. So in doubling the standard deduction, the personal exemption for everyone, we go from $6,000 to $12,000 for singles, $12,000 to $24,000 for married couples. So everybody's first $24,000 of income, whether you make $24,000 or you make $240,000, is subject to zero tax. The actual bracket we should be looking here for many Americans is zero. We will have more Americans paying 0% on their taxes, Shannon, than we currently do. You couple that with a lot of the deductions that middle-class Americans have told us they rely upon, the mortgage interest deduction, the charitable contribution deduction. They like that. We do away with the AMT, which really hurts a lot of small businesses. And we also are expanding the child care tax credit. It doubles in the Senate. And we've added an adult-dependent tax credit. That's a new feature that really responds to the changing demography of our nation. So there's a lot there to like. I think people like Senator Wyden, who are always trying to raise taxes, why his party is in the minority now, frankly, because they always overregulate and overtax Americans. He's cherry-picking the numbers. The CEA they all have different assessments of this. There's a lot of independent studies that shows this is a tax break and real tax relief for American families, and we're very happy that the House members sought to do this. We hope it's bipartisan as it goes to the Senate, but that's a question for Democrats, not Republicans.
You're probably not holding your breath on that, because we also have the Republicans who are worried from California, New Jersey, and New York about the fact that the deductions for state and local taxes, at least in the House version, aren't there. That may be true in the Senate as well. How do you answer their concerns? Because we have, I want to play a little bit of what Congressman Issa had to say earlier tonight about this.
We're donor states. We already give more money to the federal government than we get back. So the test should, in fact, have not been one in which some states won and some lost.
How are you going to work that out?
Well, first of all, let's state the facts. The fact is that these high-tax states are being subsidized by lower-tax states. And Darrell Issa is a great member of Congress, but he lives in a state that has a very inefficient state government and local government, that every time they need revenue for anything goes and they reach into your pocket and they tax their citizenry. This ends up being a subsidy to inefficient state and local governments. And I've told people in California, in New York, in New Jersey, where I own a home, Shannon, that, so I get it, that you have to plead a lot of your case to your state and local government. You're in a high-tax state for that reason. This is the federal income tax code, and we can only do so much there. But there are also, you know, there's another, again, a CEA analysis that shows that even the many taxpayers in the SAL states will benefit. But we hear that, but remember, we're also, this entire move, this entire bill is trying to get away from all the credits and deductions and exemptions that really do favor the upper class and favor the wealthy and well-connected. They rarely favor the middle class or the lower class, and so this is one of them.
I want to make sure that we talk about some of the things that you mentioned earlier today. New allegations against Senator Al Franken that are disturbing, and it's by more than one woman so far coming forward. But we've seen a slew of these accusations against Roy Moore, the GOP candidate for Senate out of Alabama. Not long ago, the president tweeted about the Al Franken case, referring to him as Al Frankenstein, and asking about, are there more pictures and whatever else happened. How tough a topic is this for the administration to weigh in on, because we have the issue with Roy Moore down in Alabama fighting for his political life as well?
Well, as a Democratic senator sent on a different network tonight, you look at the picture of Al Franken groping this woman while she sleeps, and it's very difficult to look at it, and it's very difficult to deny what you see. And so that is the news of the day. And this is a senator who, as everybody's been reviewing the entire day, Shannon, is on the record, and recently, about Harvey Weinstein and about sexual harassment. And I watched this woman, Leanne, in several interviews today, whom he groped in the picture. And I think she's very candid. She's very believable. She also is very gracious about the entire incident. But this is a very serious issue that's now spurred an entire national conversation. And I suspect the reason that you haven't heard anybody in the Senate call for, as far as I know, call for Al Franken to resign is because they want this ethics investigation to take course. But also, there are a lot of nervous people around wondering who will be next. And that's right, what stiletto will drop next, who will be next, and what will be said. But this is a very important moment of inflection, I think, for the Democratic Party, to already in the minority because they're wrong on the issues, and now to have two United States senators from Minnesota and New Jersey facing ethics investigations as of today. Bob Menendez faced an indictment on criminal charges. Now he'll be investigated by the Ethics Committee in the Senate. I think we've got to do better than some of these members. We're a huge country with 330 million people. This is the best we can do for our representatives.
Certainly a conversation to be had across party lines, and it's an important one. So, Kellyanne, thank you for joining our conversation tonight. Good to see you.